Hey everyone, welcome. Get ready because today we are doing something a little bit different. We're not just going to sit here and do a standard dry textbook read through. No way. We are embarking on an absolute masterclass in communication. We're literally going to take the English language, break it completely apart, and figure out exactly what makes it tick. Why? So you can wield it like a superpower. Seriously, whether you're speaking, listening, or reading, once you understand the hidden mechanics of a language, it completely changes how you interact with the world.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You know those pages at the very, very back of your textbook? The ones labeled Annexure? I mean, let's be honest. Most of us just flip right past them, right? We think they're just extra fluff or boring appendices that don't matter. But what if I told you that you have literally been skipping over the secret cheat codes to English fluency? It's true. These 8 annexures are actually a complete self-contained toolkit, and they're designed to turn you into a master communicator. They hold the keys to how you sound, how you listen, and how you connect with people.
So, here is our game plan for unpacking this toolkit. We're going to start small, like micro-level small. We'll look at the absolute atomic building blocks, single sounds and syllables. From there, we scale up. We'll look at how those sounds form the rhythm of words, how master writers use words as like camera filters to change our perspective through poetry, and finally, how you can deploy all of this in macro, real-world, everyday conversations. Take a look at this. It kind of looks like the periodic table of elements from chemistry class, doesn't it? But instead of chemistry, this is the chemistry of the actual sounds coming out of our mouths. Annexures 3 and 4 map out every single consonant and vowel sound in the English language. So this isn't just about knowing how to spell a word. This is about the physical mechanics of speech. A great way to think about it is to imagine consonants and vowels as different instruments in a band. Consonants? They're the percussion, the drums, the sharp, distinct beats. Take the p sound. Notice how it acts at the beginning of the word pen versus the end of the word sleep. Your lips literally have to pop. Vowels, on the other hand, are the melody. Look at the long, stretched-out E sound at the beginning of eat or the end of free. Mastering these specific phonetic sounds is your absolute first step to crystal clear articulation. All right, so we've got our individual sounds. But what happens when we string them together? Spoken English isn't flat, like a robot talking. It's a game of rhythm. And that brings us to Annexure 5, word accent. In English, certain parts of a word, certain syllables, need to be punched up for impact. If you don't punch the right syllable, the whole rhythm of your sentence just kind of falls apart. The crucial trick here is knowing exactly where that stress falls. Let's do a quick whiteboard breakdown. I'm going to slow down here because I really want you to hear the difference. Listen to where my voice naturally gets louder and higher. It's almost like the text is in bold print. It's not flat like abode, it's abode. It's not accomplish, it's accomplish. Listen to the incorrect melancholy versus the correct melancholy, and abundant versus abundant. If you overemphasize those capitalized syllables while you practice, you're literally training your ear and your mouth to feel that natural, bouncing rhythm of a native speaker. Okay, boom. Sound mechanics and rhythm, check. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the pure artistry of language. Annexure 6. This is where we dive into figures of speech. I like to think of figures of speech as special camera filters for your words. They manipulate the lens through which we view ordinary things, turning basic, boring sentences into rich, vivid images that stick in our minds long after we've heard them.
Our very first poetic filter is personification. The definition is super simple. It's giving human-like traits, emotions, or actions to a non-living thing or an abstract idea. It's basically a hack for a writer to make the inanimate, non-living world feel alive, breathing, and totally relatable. Let's look at a real example. Take this quote from the poem I Am the Land. It says, "A chain link necklace chokes me now." I mean, obviously the land doesn't literally wear jewelry, and a fence can't actually choke dirt. But by personifying the land, by giving it a human neck, and that deeply human feeling of being suffocated by a fence, the poet instantly makes you feel the earth's pain and restriction. That is the incredible power of personification. Moving right along, next up in our toolkit is the simile. You've probably heard of this one, but man, it is incredibly effective. A simile is a direct comparison between two completely unlike things, and the giveaway? It specifically uses the linking words like or as. It essentially builds a bridge in the reader's imagination between something they know and something they don't. Check out this phenomenal simile from Off to Outer Space Tomorrow Morning. The poet writes, "With the teacups circling me like the planets round the sun." Notice what's happening here. The poet takes something incredibly ordinary, just everyday teacups, and connects them to the massive, awe-inspiring scale of the solar system. Just by using that little word like, the poet paints this huge picture of zero gravity and isolation, using objects you can literally find in your own kitchen. Now, as you advance, you'll encounter even more sophisticated filters. Let's run through a few. First, metaphors. These are comparisons, but without the safety net of like or as. They just straight up state that one thing is another, like calling life a thread the length of a span. Next, we have hyperbole. This is extreme exaggeration for dramatic effect, like saying an eagle is ringed with azure world, as if the entire blue sky belongs only to that one bird. And finally, synecdoche, which is just a really fun word to say. It uses a small part of something to represent the entire whole, like saying the hand that mocked them when you're actually talking about the entire sculptor. These are the advanced tools master writers use to hack human imagination.
So we've got our sound, our rhythm, and our poetic imagery all locked down. But how do we pull this out of the textbook and use it in reality? Well, that's exactly what Annexures 1 and 2 are for. The listening scripts and list of activities push you from the micro level of analyzing text into the macro level of actually experiencing language in real time. Annexure 1 isn't just about passively letting words float into your ears. It's about active listening. It trains your brain to catch critical details on the fly. Think about it. Whether you're listening to a cultural radio announcement about the famous Mysore Brothers violin duet, or noting down intense scientific measurements from the Pokhran nuclear test site, or even tracking chaotic events in a stage drama where dogs are barking and thieves are breaking through walls, you are training your ear to process English rapidly and accurately, no matter what scenario you're in. And finally, we have reached the summit of today's explainer. Annexure 7 and 8, Discourse Markers and Language Functions. I want you to think of this as the ultimate social programming code for human interaction. It's the hidden, underlying framework that dictates how we relate to one another, how we negotiate, and how we navigate daily life using our words. Here is the secret. Every single sentence we speak has a specific job to do. When you want something from someone, your language functions as requesting. When you align with someone's thought, that's agreeing. When you step up to assist someone, it's offering help. By identifying the function behind a sentence, you stop just blindly reacting to words and you start understanding the deep psychology of the conversation itself. And honestly, this is the exact skill that makes you a highly persuasive, empathetic communicator. Let's look at a classic textbook example of this code in action. Manoj says, "Would you please give me your science record book?" Nirmala replies, "Sure, I will give it to you." Now, on the surface, that's just two kids talking, right? But structurally, Manoj is deploying the requesting function, using polite markers like, "Would you please?" Nirmala's response instantly executes the agreeing function. Understanding this invisible back and forth makes you hyper-aware of how a successful, smooth conversation is actually structured. So here is my big challenge for you today. Now that you've unlocked this Master Communicator Toolkit, don't just leave it in the back of the book. Take it out into the real world. The world is full of these invisible mechanics, and now you have the eyes and the ears to see them all. So I want you to ask yourself, if every single sentence you speak is a hidden code, what are you accidentally programming the people around you to do? Keep practicing, keep listening closely, and I'll catch you in the next explainer. All right, let's grab our red pens and put on our examiner glasses. If you're gearing up for the Karnataka SSLC board exams for second language English, subject code 31-E, you already know the basics. But let's be real, knowing English and scoring perfect marks on a board paper are two entirely different beasts. Today, we're decoding the SSLC Annexures. We're zeroing in on the highest yield sections, the exact spots where students routinely drop easy points. And I'm going to show you exactly how evaluators award and, more importantly, deduct your marks. We're looking straight at the official key answers for the ultimate exam cracking masterclass. So let's dive right in. Here's our blueprint for today. We're going to hit grammar MCQ traps, syllables and cell marks, high-yield vocabulary hacks, figures of speech, the editing section, and finally, how to absolutely maximize those final writing scores. Okay, Section 1, Cracking Grammar MCQ Traps. Let's break down the psychology of a classic mark trap using a question straight from a past official board paper. You're in the exam hall. The clock's ticking. You rush. You see the plural subject students, and boom! You jump straight to a conclusion. But in doing that, you completely ignore the tense of the verb shouted. And guys, this is exactly where we as examiners have to deduct your mark.
The board knows you're stressed, right? So they dangle, don't they? Right there is an option. It looks so tempting. But shouted is past tense. You literally must match that past tense. The only acceptable key answer here is didn't they. Seriously, always, always underline your main verb before you even think about choosing your tag. Moving on to Annexure 8, language functions. You are 100% going to see a 1-mark dialogue question here. Want to know the ultimate evaluator's trick? Translate it. Just quickly flip the sentence into your mother tongue in your head. If someone says, "Would you please give me?" translating it instantly helps you feel that it's a polite request. Or if a teacher says, "Don't worry, prepare a good timetable," well, that's clearly giving advice. And if someone hits you with, "You must be joking," bam, that is the official trigger phrase for disagreeing politely. Lock these triggers in your brain.
All right, section 2, syllables and sound marks.
Listen, the single biggest, most heartbreaking mistake students make here is counting the vowel letters on the page instead of listening to the vowel sounds in their head. Remember, we evaluators are scoring you strictly on the sound, not the spelling. The sound.
Keep a really close eye on these exact examples. These are pulled straight from past board evaluations. Take words like free and road. Sure, they have multiple vowel letters, but they only make one vowel sound. So, that's one syllable. On the flip side, words like table and proper are your absolute classic 2-syllable answers that evaluators actively hunt for. A pro tip? Literally whisper the word to yourself during the exam to feel the beats.
Next up, section 3, high-yield vocabulary hacks. Now, collocations. They're just words that naturally stick together in English like glue. And the board loves testing very specific combinations. When they give you swimming, they want pool. When you see credit, you look for card. Honestly, do not overthink this section. Memorize these textbook pairings because the answer key, it is completely inflexible here.
Rolling into section 4, mastering figures of speech.
This one brilliantly illustrates a huge board favorite. This exact poetic line from the eagle gets tested all the time. Think about it when you see totally contradictory ideas shoved together, like a massive, powerful sea that's somehow reduced to this old, wrinkled thing that crawls, you are looking at a paradox. And evaluators, we want to see that exact word written down. To make sure you recall these instantly under pressure without second-guessing yourself, you've got to anchor these specific textbook quotes to their definitions. Look, if you see "a chain link necklace chokes me now" from "I am the land," well, the land is being choked like a person, right? That's personification. Or those famous lines from The Ancient Mariner, "Water everywhere but not a drop to drink." Classic irony. Anchor the quote, secure the mark. It's that simple. Moving right along, section 5, beating the editing section.
Okay, listen closely to this one because the official evaluation walkthrough is incredibly strict here. 1 mark is literally just for fixing a spelling or capitalization error, like changing a lowercase Jackie to a capital J, or fixing the homophone here to here. Boom, 1 mark. The 2nd mark is strictly for grammatical form, so changing range to reign or tweaking the adjective free into the adverb freely. Just follow these 2 steps sequentially, one after the other, and you are going to lock in those 2 marks every single time.
And finally, section 6, maximizing those final writing scores. Guys, please, whatever you do, do not drop easy points here. Look at this official scoring scheme. Evaluators literally slice that 5-mark letter question into 2 totally separate buckets. 2 marks are given purely for formatting. Your from address, to address, date, salutation, and sign-off. The remaining 3 marks, those are for the body and language accuracy. This means even if your grammar is a little shaky, nailing the format guarantees you 2 out of 5 marks before you even write a single sentence of the main message. Which brings us to the picture description prompt. When you're staring at an image on the exam, like this official past paper visual of students at computers with a satellite in the back, examiners don't want a messy grocery list of items. No, they are hunting for a highly structured, tight paragraph. Here's the crucial breakdown of how those 3 marks are dished out. The key answer states that 2 marks go toward actually describing the elements, pointing out the students, the globe on the screen, the satellite link, but 1 full mark is fenced off entirely for your language accuracy. So keep your sentences punchy, grammatically tight, and precisely descriptive, and you'll bag all 3 points. So there you have it. You've got the insider's blueprint. You've seen the official mark schemes, the sneaky grammar traps, and the exact scoring breakdowns. So I want you to ask yourself, knowing exactly how the evaluator scores your paper, what is the single biggest mistake you are going to correct before your exam tomorrow? Where were you dropping marks before? And how many extra points are you going to confidently secure now?
Go grab those textbooks, put on your evaluator lenses, and go absolutely crush that exam.